Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Super Game Brothers podcast, a weekly podcast all about board games and video games. I'm joined every single week by my brother, Super Game Brother Link, keeper of the Master Sword, protector of Zelda, and defeater of Ganon. How are you today?
I just defeated another Ganon in another timeline. It's light work, no reaction for me.
Wow, nice.
The Koroks also love me.
They do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm doing well. Life is good. I'm awfully tired today, but we are fighting through it like a boss.
Yeah. Yeah, you were up at like 6, you said?
Yeah, just normal adult stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's way earlier than I wake up. So that's pretty hardcore.
It felt hardcore. Well, it felt normal until about 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And whoa. It hit me. I'm getting old, and I'm starting to understand the necessity of napping.
I hate naps, but every once in a while, you're just so exhausted on a day, you just let it happen.
I don't like that I can get that exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I feel out of control. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing you can do. You're stuck in this tired phase. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It is. Grown up's fun. So fun.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, it really is. Well, what's new with you, Devin?
I got back to streaming.
Oh, heck yes.
Speaking of Zelda, I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, spoiler for the next section. But no, got back to streaming. We've been busting out long streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been putting the hours in, just getting right back to it. Maybe a little too intense.
It was a fun, surprise of getting back, though. So you could rein it back in probably soon, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll get on to a more consistent schedule. But
yeah,
it's been streaming. And I'm realizing it's much harder to be absolutely jacked when you're full-time working.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that takes a lot of your hours in a day.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then just the mental drain. After you're done, you're like, I don't want to do anything productive, let alone lift heavy stuff.
No, I went in the weight room maybe it was yesterday. I was like, okay, I just streamed for a long time. I put on some shorts. We're gonna do some lunges. So I went to Hulu, noticed there was a really dumb looking brand new Hellboy movie on there.
David Harbour one?
Called The Crooked Man.
Oh, I don't know what
2024.
Oh.
Wow, that show was
very dumb.
It was interesting. I didn't watch very much. Basically what I'm saying is I went to lift, and after that entire day, the mental drain was there. I started doing that, and I was like, yeah, 3 reps is enough. And I think I sat on the floor, did one stretch, and watched Hellboy whoop for a minute. And then I turned the TV off, and I think I went and ate food or something and went to bed.
Nice. Yeah, it is crazy. Just having something in your day, whether that takes some extended period of time, whether that's work or a couple weeks ago, I was off work because Lacey was out of town, and it was just, getting the kids off to school, hanging out with our youngest, and then getting them home from school. Just having something in the middle of the day, man, it tires you out.
It does.
Sadly. Hard to be productive after. I find if I want to do something productive, I usually have to do it before. But I'm not a morning person, so those things are very much at odds. So I end up doing the productive things at night. So what I told you is not true. I don't do that.
Yeah, I would like to find a strategy to really enjoy mornings. Because Devin naturally does not love waking up. His body goes, whoa, 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 this sucks. Let's do anything besides this. But I want to be the person that goes, heck yeah, I'm so excited to do all these things for myself right now. And have that motivator be higher than the brutality I feel of getting out of bed.
Yep, I agree. And that it almost never wins that fight.
Oh, no. It's an easy loss.
Yeah. I love how you went through that whole scenario though, holding the Master Sword. That was nice.
I feel powerful
Yeah.
with this.
It's gonna help you crush your goals. Filling you
Exactly.
with that light of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool, Devin. Well, we're glad you're back streaming. Player 4 Proto. Player 4 now is he's back. How was it? What was the vibe like? Was it easy to jump back in? Was it harder
Um,
than you thought? Or
I was nervous. I felt like an imposter, or like, yeah, an imposter. Like I didn't deserve to be back. Like I don't just get to come back whenever I want.
Mm.
You know, I don't get to just break up with you and then call you and go, I'm ready now. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, sure.
So for the first like 30 minutes, I felt like a lot of blood rush to my face and a lot of body heat.
Mm.
And I was like, I don't like this. And then that all went away once I realized people are awesome. And they didn't care about that. They were just stoked to see me. And it is back to complete normal, absolute nonsense in there.
Yeah.
And we're playing fun games.
Cool. Well, good. I'm glad it went pretty well. It's hard to know as like someone watching. I'm like, I wonder what he's feeling right now.
Oh, it was rough the first half hour.
Yeah. No, I believe it. But hey, props to getting back to it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good 2025 year of the streamer, man. Year of Player 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Cool, Devin. Well, I don't have much new on my end this week. I guess just I'm gonna tie a bow on a story from a few months ago. You might remember we got the kids a trampoline and a basketball hoop for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Both of which broke
Awesome.
immediately. Well, that's not 100% true. The tramp didn't come with some important parts. And the basketball hoop, even though I've filled up the base with water and this like mixture gel that's supposed to make it extra heavy and not like sloshy like water in there, fell over Christmas morning before our kids took even a shot from like a tiny little baby gust of wind and busted the rim. So I was not a very happy customer to Walmart. It's probably my problem because I bought these things
Can you
from
be
Walmart.
can you be pretty brutal when it comes to that? Can you be like
I wasn't like mean, but I was like pretty blunt. Like these are, went pretty poorly.
I think you'd be better in that scenario than I would. I'd be like, I don't want to inconvenience you, but there was a gust of wind. I don't know if anybody knew about it. I didn't know about it. I know. We're all feeling this right now. Can I get a new rim?
That's funny. Luckily, customer service nowadays is usually like chat. And with big companies like Amazon and Walmart, they want to keep your business like more than anything, as long as you're like not someone taking advantage of their return policies.
I see.
And so, I mean, you usually get like some nice person, usually from like India or something, that's chatting with you, and they're just uber friendly, and they want to make sure that you have like the best experience ever.
I see.
And so they're like, yeah, we'll refund you, and it's not a big deal. And I was like, oh, cool. That didn't end up working, but then my credit card company like fought it, and so I actually got both of those items for free.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And so, anyways.
That's crazy.
But I still had a busted basketball hoop, right? So kind of trying to tie a loop on that. Bought a new rim, and I was trying to decide where to put the hoop this time so that it wouldn't fall over again. I need to anchor it down. The only way I can really anchor it is if it's sitting on the grass, because I can't like anchor it to the driveway, right?
It would be tough, yeah.
But then the grass isn't at the same level or as like perfectly flat as the driveway, so it's like a whole thing. So I cut out some grass, only 6 square feet, and man, that grass is heavy. Could not believe it. The dirt was like a tiny bit wet, and that bag of grass was so heavy I could not pick it up. Probably because it was like awkward to try and pick it up in a black trash bag too. It was a weird lift. I had to tip the trash can over and like push the thing in.
You had to roll the bag in there,
basically. So cut that out. Tried to get the dirt as flat as I could. Put a layer of like weed guard, and then this like 3/8 of an inch, like kind of foamy stuff that goes underneath pavers, and then 6 pavers underneath the basketball hoop, and then 2 like tie downs for like a truck
Mm-hmm.
on the base, connected to these 13-inch spiral ground anchors that go down into my dirt.
Oh, wow.
So with all of that, we do have a basketball hoop now.
Holy crap.
Whew, yeah, it was kind of nuts. So I did that today. So I feel like sometimes I don't like having like an extra task that I'm more like stressed about and don't really know how to do. But when I was done with it today, I was like, hey, I did that. And it kind of gives you a good feeling for like 5 minutes, you know? And then I've got like this cool setup and then like the cheapest basketball hoop you can imagine sitting on top of it. So it's like, you're like, what do you do that for? You like shoot the ball on the basketball hoop. Looks like it's going to break. But it's done. Our kids are pumped. So that was good. Other than that, Devin, watched a lot of TV and movies this last week. So we're going to jump right into Super Movie Brothers. I popped Devin some popcorn for Super Movie Brothers this week, but I think he ate it all already.
It's over there.
Did you eat it all?
It's mostly gone. Mm-hmm.
It's all good. Love popcorn. I watched a lot of stuff, Devin. Still watching Reacher Season 3 and Severance every week when those episodes come out. Both have been really fun. Won't say anything else about those. Lacey and I restarted The Last of Us on HBO because the second season comes out next month. I think on like April 13th or something. Forgot how excellent that was. Great TV show. Super good. It's one of my favorite video games ever, so I'm kind of biased, but the show's very, very well done. So I'm very excited for season 2. Have you watched that recently, Devin, or has it been since it first came out?
I think since it first came out, yeah. I remember that I thought it was very impressive, but
yeah, it's really good.
I should also rewatch it because my memory's trash.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to rewatch because I had forgotten some parts as well and some of the things they had changed from the game. It is cool. I love it when sometimes I'm like a little protective, like this is a video game thing. Nobody else can like it, but I'm not really like that. My wife really, really likes it, and I don't know. It's kind of like exciting to me for her to like something that's video game adjacent because it's kind of rare.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very, very good. I think HBO when it first came out said that it's their like best performing show. Like I think only second to Game of Thrones, maybe.
Wow.
So I think it's a big deal for HBO, obviously, and it's going to be great. I'm very excited to see how they handle season 2. I know they're splitting it in multiple seasons. There are some very, very big like story moments in the second season. I imagine that not all of them will be in this new season, but I do think the big one will be. Not sure. We'll see. But my last night, no spoilers, but we watched episode 9 last night, finishing the first season. And I've played part 2, I think, twice. And Lacey has no idea what's going to happen in the next one. So I just kind of probed a little bit just to see what she thought might happen. And they were like very nice and like halfway innocent things. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I think most people are probably in that bucket of like, they don't know what's in store for them. It's pretty brutal. So that'll be interesting to see if the internet hates that as much as they threw a fit about the game, which I think is silly because it's probably, I think it's one of the best series ever. But anyways, rewatched that. Super good. It's fun to kind of hop around in a new app because we signed up for Max to rewatch that, and we watched something else on it. I have a list here, and I'm forgetting something that we watched on the list. Oh, I can't remember.
It's not War of the Rohirrim?
It's not. We subscribed to Max to watch a movie. Because we were like, well, we can watch this movie for like, oh, okay, I remember actually. Haha, this will be fun. New little intro thing. Continuing that story of me being excited when my wife likes something that I've recommended to her, even if it takes like a decade.
Yes.
I really like Studio Ghibli movies. One of them that's really good, it's not my favorite, but it's of theirs, but it's really good, is called Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when she was on her trip in Florida, one of her friends recommended that movie to her. and I've been asking her to watch it for like a million years. But she was all pumped to watch it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll pretend like I'm not, super offended that it wasn't my recommendation you took, but no, it was fine. So we watched that. It's really good. Howl's Moving Castle is a good one. Christian Bale plays the main character. Well, I guess he's not the main. He plays Howl, the second main character, I guess. Very quirky and weird show, but I really like it. So we watched that, and that was the reason we subscribed to Max, because we were either going to have to buy it on Amazon or subscribe to Max. Then we watched Last of Us, and we did start War of the Rohirrim.
And did you watch the other animated show on there, Flow? Flow?
I haven't watched it yet.
There?
I have seen it on there. Our kids actually started it. But I don't think they finished it. Yeah, I think it won Best Animated Picture at the Oscars.
Crazy.
Just kind of crazy. It won over The Wild Robot, which was a really good movie this last year.
Mm-hmm.
So watch that one if you haven't. But yeah, there's quite a bit on there that I want to watch. I need to finish Nathan For You while we have that subscription, and I'd like to see if there's any new Impractical Jokers episodes that we haven't seen yet, because we were caught up, but that was like a year ago, and I think they do have new ones.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you if they're continuing that right now or not.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. So there's quite a bit on there. And then we started War of the Rohirrim, but we didn't quite finish it yet. We're probably half an hour in. Really like the animation. I think it's very cool. The director that they chose is a really famous anime director, and you can tell it's like cool camera angles and like cool scenes. Some of the writing has been like a tiny bit iffy or cheesy to me, but I'll look past it. It's okay. Characters are cool.
Did you say you're halfway?
Probably 30 to 45 minutes in.
We're probably around the same area. I think Hera's
the main character, yeah.
I feel like I like her already. Oh.
She's a cool character. I feel like I don't know. I thought the strangest part, this isn't a spoiler, this happens in the trailer for the movie. It's in like the first 10 minutes. So Hera's dad is this king of Rohan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rohan, however we're saying it. There's this other dude. He's seems to have known King Helm for a while, but he lives in another part of the land. I'm not saying this very well. I forget what his name was. He comes and asks for his son Wolf, who used to sneak out and hang out with Hera when they were really young, to like play in the forest and like find bugs or whatever, Wolf's dad wants Wolf to marry Hera so that their two houses can be united or whatever. Helm, Hera's dad, says, I don't think you really want that. You just want to take over my throne, kill my other two sons, so that then Wolf can be king and you can control the land, because I don't trust you. And they get in kind of an argument and are about to fight, I guess, because I guess that's something kings do in Rohan. And they say, we can't fight in here. We have to go outside.
Catch me outside.
And fight. And they have like this weird fight. Helm punches the other dude once and kills him. Just a knockout blow. He's One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah.
Helm was a little much for me. Like it was... I feel like in that moment, at least, they didn't explain quite well enough why Helm would immediately think like, oh, this kid named Wolf that my daughter used to hang out with a bunch is the son of this guy I don't really care for, but if he wants to marry my daughter, like, that might be an okay thing. But I don't know. They were just thinking about it politically. Who did he think
was a better option?
Right. Yeah. And he's like, no. But
I think he was trying to marry Hera himself.
Yeah, Helm doesn't share with anybody. So I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing. Helm seemed a little like poor father, like not a good, like just wanted his own like motives more than hers at that moment. So I was like, that was kind of weird, since usually the kings in like Lord of the Rings are I don't know, they're not all perfect. You got Denethor and Gondor. I don't know. It was just a weird moment for me, I feel like. But liked it so far. We'll see how it finishes up. I do think they tried a little too hard to like tie it to the Peter Jackson movies. Like I should have like tried harder to let it be its own thing. Because
Are
there's
you talking about like the music?
no, I don't mind like a subtle musical cue that's like this, because in the trilogy, like Rohan has its own theme, like the
Yes.
writers, and that's totally fine because we're still in Rohan. I feel like they even pulled in a couple of lines that were word for word lines that someone else had said in the Fellowship, and I was like, man, did we really need to copy that line like completely? It's maybe a cool throwback, but like a little on the nose. I don't know.
Oh yeah, when she said like stupid fat hobbit.
Yeah, and then Wolf was like, a wizard is never late or early. Yeah, that was it. But yeah, no, excited to finish that. We'll see. I think I will like it more than most people do, but I'm a little forgiving for Lord of the Rings. Loved Rings of Power, and I know a lot of people don't, but
I don't know how you could not. It's beautiful.
it is. I think that the main thing is people that have really read like Lord of the Rings or the Silmarillion don't think it's like as true to the story as it should be at times, but for
I see.
the oblivious like me that don't really know, I'm like,
Yeah,
man, this is a great time.
Yeah, maybe that's why I enjoy it. Is
Yeah,
because of my ignorance. Is that the word?
they say ignorance is bliss. So
It's bliss for me. Yeah,
yeah.
I was blissful watching that.
I was too. Anyways, that was a lot of stuff, Devin. Good stuff in there.
Heck
Howl's
yeah.
Moving Castle. Watch all the Ghibli movies. They're great. Last of Us Season 1, if you are okay with a very dark story, but it's great. Severance, still great. Reacher, still great. Last thing I want to ask you about, Devin, before you tell me all the things you watched, which is probably a long list, unless you fell asleep during them. Like last week, you told me you were
That's
falling
exactly
asleep.
what happened. I'll quickly go through it. I tried to rewatch Nosferatu and got maybe 12 minutes in. Woke up an hour later and it was still playing in my hand. So I turned that off.
I don't know how you watch movies on your phone, man.
It's kind of annoying. I need a headband that hooks my phone in front of my face. Or VR or something. Like, honestly, I don't. Just hands free would be so nice. Just lay back. And then also, I watched half of Candyman. Which is very interesting.
I feel like, didn't Jordan Peele like help produce that or something? He wasn't the director.
Him and two other people.
Yeah. And the guy that does the voice of Candyman is the guy that does the voice of Venom in the Spider-Man video game.
Really?
I think he died recently, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, Tony Todd. Very cool voice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie. Is it any good?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's pretty
good one.
Very unique, which is nice.
Yeah.
But other than that, Nosferatu and that, I don't know.
Devin's a super sleepy bro.
I'm a super sleepy bro and been working on my super computer.
Oh yeah.
Did a lot of work on my computer.
Yeah. Super sleepy bro and the super streamy bro.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Last thing I just wanted to call out, Devin. Did you see the Lilo and Stitch movie trailer that came out today?
Came out today?
I think the full trailer did. They like teased it a few weeks ago, maybe with like the Stitch character. I don't know if I'm in. I love Stitch. He's one of my favorite Disney characters, and
Are you not liking what he looks like?
I don't like the way anyone looks, to be honest, which sounds mean. I don't like how you look. But I think Stitch looks a little weird, but I think he looks most true. I think Lilo looks more different than I want her to. Lilo's older sister looks more different than I want her to. The character that plays David, I thought looked quite a bit different. So I don't know. I'm just kind of over Disney remaking every single one of their shows. Make new stuff.
Make new stuff.
But that's it. Maybe it'll be great. I think it comes out in May or something.
Yeah, I didn't see it. The only thing I saw was the hilarious Super Bowl commercial.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, it was so fantastic. Stitch runs out on the field. Everybody's trying to catch him. He's on the football field. And they're like, oh, we finally got him in a garbage basket, like a garbage can. And then they lift it up and he's gone underground. Next thing they know, he's on a golf cart just mobbing across the whole.
Like one of those like health carts that they
Yeah,
take
I mean,
the football
he's
players
going
off
pretty
with.
fast, and I think he just slams right into the goalpost.
That's funny.
That's all I remember, but it got me to chuckle.
Yeah. No, I do like it when they like tie their because they obviously their like ad is Lilo and Stitch into what's going on. It's like, oh, what would Stitch be like at a football game? It's kind of fun. Cool. Well, lots of movies this week, Devin. Let's hop into the show because I think we're gonna lose you just like the movies are losing you mid movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No. All right. Opening kind of thing here. This is a weekly podcast about board games and video games, the ones we're playing, the ones we like, the ones we don't like, what we're excited about, a little bit about the news in kind of a quick fire Mini-Nuke fashion is what we call it. We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers. Helps us keep the lights on. You can follow it completely for free. But if you do support us over there, you get some cool perks, like being able to write into the show, and getting episodes a few days early. And yeah, once you subscribe, you'll immediately have access to everything there. So anyways, there's that. We do also have a giveaway going on our website at supergamebrothers.com. And we're giving away a board game bundle or a video game gift card, whichever you prefer. So make sure to join that as well. I think that is all the shenanigans. So let's jump right in. Devin, we always start with new games to subscription services. And like the last few weeks, I forgot to look at this link. So we'll look at it together again. A Board Game Arena is a very fun website where you can play board games very quickly, I might add, even complicated ones. They have over 1,000 games on there and add new ones all the time. And the most recent one is Great Western Trail El Paso, excuse me. This is kind of a truncated, shorter, and smaller version of Great Western Trail. I love Great Western Trail. I have New Zealand. It's just up here behind my head. It's a game about kind of moving along a Great Western Trail, but you're also like herding. You have a herd. In some of them, it's been cows, and some it's been sheep, like in New Zealand. And those are usually cards. It's a deck building game. You're trying to get better cards as you move along this path, and then you either sell your sheep or cows or do other stuff. Cool game. I'm excited to try this kind of shorter version. Has a tutorial and all those kinds of goodies. Then there's one called Stock Exchange. I don't think we talked about this one last week. No, we didn't. But I think that is the only other new one this week. So if you want to try out Stock Exchange, which it looks like each player has a shield, so there must be some kind of hidden information in that one. Ooh, plant
Fancy.
the seeds of investment to grow your plant portfolio. So check those out on Board Game Arena. All right, moving over to video games. Devin, you'll have to tell me which of these is, if any, is exciting to you. PlayStation announced their games coming to Extra and Premium for the month of March, and I think they come to the service on Tuesday, which is the 18th of March. Here's kind of the headliners here, but looking at each of the games, you got EA Sports, UFC 5. Have you played one of those UFC games? I can't believe they're already at number 5.
No, I have not. Nope.
Yeah, me neither. I wonder if I'd like it. I remember our uncle had a boxing game for the PlayStation 3 in like 2006 or 7 or something. And I remember thinking when we were playing it, this is the prettiest video game I've ever seen. Like the character models were like very pretty. There's sweat and like stuff, and it was actually really fun. But I haven't played one of these UFC ones. So check that out. Excellent Metroidvania game from last year, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is probably my pick of the bunch. Very cool. High budget for a Metroidvania game. Cool boss fights, cool graphics. I like Prince of Persia. It's a cool one. Captain Tsubasa: Rise of New Champions.
Amazing.
It's a soccer anime game. I think it's based on an anime. Yeah, based on the globally beloved anime. So if you've watched that, you might be interested in that game. Then you got Mobile Suit Gundam, Battle Operation Code Fairy Standard Edition. You know, that's a mouthful. How would you abbreviate that? MSGBOCF.
Oh man, yeah.
I haven't played a Mobile Suit Gundam game, but there is one of those. Arcade Paradise on PS4 and PS5. Go from rags to riches in the 90s, retro arcade and light management sim combo. I think this one was given away on the Epic Game Store a few months ago as well. So check out that one. I don't know what this is. Bang On Balls Chronicles. And it says, become Bob, a reckless, bouncy hero embarking on a quest of epic adventures and chaos. It's a 3D platforming and combat game inspired by some of the best in the genre. Bounce between multiple, slightly inaccurate, historically themed open worlds, two-player split screen, online co-op up to 4 players. I'm kind of interested in that now, to be honest. You suck at parking. I've actually heard that's pretty fun. But there's 270 wild levels of parking, I think. The only game where your driving skills aren't as important as your parallel parking skills. Oh, yeah. Siberia, The World Before. I don't know much about that one, to be honest. It looks like there were 2 Siberia games in the early 2000s. They're point-and-click adventure games. No wonder I don't know what they are. This is a brand new one. Looks like it's the 4th. Arcade Paradise in VR. We already talked about that one above. And I think the VR games are only on premium. The rest of the ones we just talked about are on extra. Then there, won't scroll here. We got 3 Armored Core games, I think, from the original PlayStation and maybe into the PlayStation 2. Armored Core Project Phantasma came out in 1998, and Armored Core Master of Arena 1999. Those are probably all PlayStation 1, to be honest. Kind of cool that they did 3 at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. So, Devin, what's your pick of the bundle this month?
Is Armored Core what FromSoft got into?
Yeah, is that what that latest one? I get the mech games mixed up sometimes.
I do too.
Yeah, it does say the very first entry to From Software's now iconic Armored Core franchise. So yeah, those are the first 3. Crazy.
Interesting.
It's weird to think they were making those before they made Demon Souls.
Yeah, very, very strange.
Yeah.
I only see them as Dark Souls games.
Mm-hmm. I want to try the newest Armored Core, because I have heard it's excellent, but maybe I'll start with these PlayStation 1 ones. And
yeah, I mean,
give it
that excites me, the Prince of Persia game.
Yeah. What else was up here? I kind of want to see what the heck that is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
3D platformer. I like that genre sometimes. Maybe I'll try UFC. Probably not, but I might.
I think you should.
All right, there are 2 new games to the Game Boy app on Nintendo Switch Online, and one of them is an absolute banger, and the other one, I would also say, probably like a 3/4 banger.
I like that Game Boy. That's a good-looking Game Boy.
It is, yeah. Donkey Kong 1994, I think, is the best Game Boy game, in my opinion. I know Tetris and some others sometimes win that vote, but in this game, the first 4 levels are the same 4 levels as the arcade version of Donkey Kong. And when it came out, everyone just thought that was what it was gonna be. But then you clear those, and then Donkey Kong takes what's her name, Pauline in this game, and continues. And there's 96 more levels, and that was like a big deal. I remember playing it and being like, "What the heck? There's so many levels." Such a good puzzle game. And then Mario Picross is the other one, and I really like Picross. It's kind of like a Sudoku with numbers on like a column and rows that tell you where certain squares need to be filled in or not filled in, and it'll make some shape. And if you complete the shape, then you complete the shape. So it's just a little puzzle game, but I think there are like 20 Picross games now. There's so many. But that was one of the first ones, probably.
That's crazy, because I've never heard of that.
Really? I play
don't
them on
think
my
so.
Switch sometimes. Not that one. I would try that one, but some of the more recent ones I've played, they're fun. If you want something just like a little bit relaxing at the same time. All right, on the Epic Game Store, their free game this week is one, Devin, I think you might like. I've heard it's pretty good.
Oh, awesome.
It's a Souls-like called Mortal Shell. We also own this on the PlayStation, so you could
Oh,
play it if you ever wanted to. I think that one of the differences here is you can like push some buttons to do something fancy or like charge up your armor or something. Yeah, he like hopped out of his armor there in the video for a second. So I think there's like I don't know if it's like a second kind of dimension you can jump into, or if it's.
Is this pretty new? The graphics looked really good.
Yeah, it's pretty just a few years old, I think. 2020.
Huh.
I've heard it's one of the better Souls-likes that aren't made by FromSoft, but I have not tried it. So that's a Mortal Shell on the Epic Game Store. And then Amazon finally released their list of games that are included with Amazon Prime for the month of, what month is this? March 2025. And we'll go through these really quickly. There's quite a list. Here are the headliners again. Or sorry, those are the headliners with Luna. Here are the headliners. And what do you know? Mortal Shell there too.
Oh, weird.
Kind of funny. Okay, going through these really quick. Devin, we're just going to trade off. I'll have you read a title, then I'll read a title. You don't even have to read the whole
that's
blurb.
amazing.
Yeah.
Saints Row the Third Remastered.
Mafia 2 Definitive Edition.
Crime Boss Rocky City.
Oh my gosh. Nahalbeux. How would you pronounce that?
Nalbook.
Nahalbeux Dungeon Master.
Wall World.
Siberia, the world before. That was the one we just saw on PlayStation.
Endling Extinction is Forever.
Dark Deity Complete Edition.
Beholder 3.
Wolfenstein, The Old Blood.
Mutazion.
Figment 2 Creed Valley.
Legacy of Kain Defiance.
I'd check that one out. Mortal Shell.
The Forgotten City.
Forgotten City is one that I have on my PlayStation Cross Media Bar and I want to play. It's a puzzle game. Supposed to be really cool. Deus Ex, Invisible War.
Session Skate Simulator.
Let's Build a Zoo.
Game Deck Definitive Edition.
And the Whizbee Mystery. Some of those never heard of in my life.
Yeah.
But a few of them pretty good as well. Forgotten City. What was the other one I thought was interesting? I mean, if you like games like this, Saints Row is kind of like GTA. Mafia 2 is also kind of like that. So yeah, some good stuff in there as well. I do have one new little storefront that we're going to talk about just this week. I don't know if we'll talk about it in the future, but Apple Arcade. I want to give a shout out to Apple Arcade, mainly because Balatro Plus is available with Apple Arcade, and I'm absolutely obsessed with Balatro and have been for a long time. But that's not what we're here to talk about. There are 6 new games coming to Apple Arcade in April. One of them is a brand new Katamari game. I've never played a Katamari game. This one's called Katamari Damacy Rolling Live. In this game, you roll like a big ball thing, and it like collects garbage and stuff from around the world, and you're trying to just like roll it really big, and it has like a very weird and odd vibe. But there's been a lot of them over the years, so I think people generally like them. Have you ever played a Katamari, Devin?
I have not. No.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I don't think you probably have. Other than that one, on April 3rd, you've got Space Invaders Infinity Gene Evolve, which I think is like a new version of a Space Invaders game that came out a few years ago. Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic Plus. I like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I think that's like the original one. Game of Life 2 Plus, Sesame Street Mecha Builders Plus. So versions of other versions of games that have been out before. Here's Katamari, where you're like rolling the ball, and it's for some reason sucked up a double-decker bus or two. No idea why. Why does that guy have a roller head? Who knows? Here's Space Invaders. Here is a puzzle game called Puffies. I like the art on the weird puzzles. And then here's Roller Coaster Tycoon. That would be kind of fun to play on an iPad, in my opinion. I like that game. Life and Sesame Street. You can play as Cookie Monster, looks like. Who's your favorite Sesame Street character?
It's been a while. I feel like I would need to see them lined up.
I'll give you a few. Bert, Ernie.
I do like those two.
Got Elmo and Cookie Monster Big Bird. You got the big elephant. What's his name? Snuffleupagus. Who else is in there? You got Gosmo. Is that his name? Super Grover. Grover?
Grover? Who's
Super
grumpy,
Grover?
grumpy
The one
trash
in the
guy?
trash can, yeah. He's what is his name? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. We'll remember it during the show, I'm sure. He's trash, man. He's
You already said Grover? Is he not the one in the trash?
is he the one in the trash?
I think so.
Who's the blue one that has like the turns into Super Grover? I thought that was
Oh,
the
I
blue
don't know
guy
who
that's
that is.
like has
Yeah,
a
who is
superhero
that?
suit. Who's the one in the maybe he's Grumpy Grover in the trash can. That doesn't sound right though.
I'm gonna go with Count Dracula because that man's taught me some
Oh,
ish.
good, yeah. Good job.
So.
That's a good one. Why did I not think of Count? What's his name? Count the Count. They call him the Count.
The accountant.
The Count. It's not Count Dracula in there, it's Count
Olaf.
I can't remember. All right. If you can't tell, we haven't seen Sesame Street in a while. But hey, there you go. Apple Arcade has got some stuff. All right, Devin, do you want to jumping into what we've been playing? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go. I can go first.
I'm gonna just pull up your Twitch.
Yeah, you can pull up. So I've only been playing one game, and that is a massive game. It's very well loved by people, and that is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh boy! Oh boy! We got noises everywhere.
It's
There we go.
I don't even know where to start with this game. That's a clip from today.
Yep, that's not what I wanted. Recent broadcast. Here we go.
This game.
Here you go. You're fighting Master Koga.
Nice. This game is amazing. It's funny. The physics are so well done. I don't feel like I need to just compliment this all day because most people know that it's way good.
Yeah, it's excellent.
It really, really is. It's huge. It's overwhelming. The button layout isn't perfect, but all in all, it's fantastic. My biggest hope for this game is that end game material is deep enough where you would want to actually go out and min-max your character, if that's even the term. I can't remember. It would be nice to end the game after the story, be so focused on finding extremely rare or hard to acquire armor sets and then fighting these like elite beasts that are like super hard to kill. I'm sure that's not how endgame goes, but that would be my hope for it because a lot of times for me in these Zelda games, there is so much to explore, but once Ganon has met my blade, I typically
I'm out.
Bolt to something else because the story's done.
There are definitely more like end game enemies. Like in Breath of the Wild, I don't think this is a spoiler, the main end game enemy was the Lionel, right? I think I'm pronouncing that right. Like the what do you call that? Centaur looking buff dude with the bow and arrow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of those, and in Breath of the Wild, the goblins and the Lionels that I think were like white and black spotted were like the most strong and dangerous. I think those are probably like the toughest. There are more and different end game enemies. There's even a couple that I never beat, even though I tried quite a few times. So I think you'll find it better than in Breath of the Wild for sure. Just interjecting a bit while you were to interrupt you.
No, I don't have too much to say. It's just it's amazing that Nintendo can make such a who made this.
Oh yeah, it's Nintendo.
They made such a fantastic game in 1080p with a lower frame rate on a console that really isn't that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that this could look better,
mm-hmm.
but I don't really care. I kind of enjoy its derpy look.
Yeah,
in a way.
I like the graphics. Like, I don't mind. Like, I think it artistically it's very like pretty and cool looking. I just wish that you could put it on the put it on something equal to the PlayStation 5 so that boop, it's in 4K and boop, it runs at 60 to 90 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
and I can tweak the controller layout or whatever else. But just those three little changes, I think, like this running on the Switch 2 is probably going to be pretty. But we don't know exactly how powerful that's going to be anyway. So it is crazy that they can make such a good, big, huge, expansive game with probably the craziest physics engines I've ever seen
Truly.
in a video game running on the stinky Switch. I don't know how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just want to think, like, man, if they just had 5 times as much power, like, what else could they have thought of?
Oh yeah, I've died in a lot of random ways in this game, and every single time I go, I should have died there. That actually is what would have happened.
Right.
It's almost too realistic.
The world reacts, like, very well. Like, if you think you can do something, you usually can.
Yes, it allows you to play the game however you want
Mm-hmm.
and die however you want, because everything affects you like it's real life. Temperature, lighting, fire, gravity, wind. I mean, just everything.
Yeah.
It's such a well-made game. It's very, very impressive. I'm excited to dive really, really deep into this. Maybe not too deep, but I didn't want to stop streaming it today because it's a fantastic video game.
Yeah. It's a hard one for me. I think it's almost like a perfect game, like 10 out of 10, like amazing. I do think it's like, at least for me, like an old man with kids, it's too long. And so I did a lot of side stuff, but I end up skipping a lot of it too. Like, I'm there for, like, wow, this is really cool. I want to unleash some of my creativity, but I can't be here for 400 hours getting, like, filling my heart meter up and, like, finding all of the best stuff. I want some of that, and then I want, like, the really cool, like, story moments.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the really cool story moments in this one are a lot stronger than in Breath of the Wild. Obviously won't spoil any, but some of those are like, where's Zelda? How do I get into the secret forest? When am I going to get the Master Sword? Blah, 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 blah. You know, what's Ganondorf going to look like? What's the final fight going to be like? What are the dungeons and those fights going to look like? Because you kind of know that structure is, like, what makes these games.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
I've been impressed with the temples. There's a lot of
they're better than the
depth and height.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see on the screen here vehicles you can create, and the mechanics to this game are so unique.
Yeah.
And complex and overwhelming.
Uh-huh. The other thing that just blows my mind, and it makes sense why this game took so long to make after Breath of the Wild, that ability in the first game, you're like, you have to climb a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You're climbing stuff a ton. They're trying to get stamina food so that you can climb, like, this building or this mountain. And then in this game, they're just like, you can do that still a little bit now, but now if you want to fly, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're just going to, in the first half an hour, we're going to give you this ability called, Arise? What's it called? Ascend, where you can just, if you're close enough to the ceiling, you can just whoop through whatever surface that is, and you pop up at the top, and it works everywhere.
Yep, you can go anywhere.
I don't understand how they made a game this big, because the main level is as big as Hyrule. It has a depth underneath that's, I think, about as big as Hyrule too, and then it has sky islands, like, floating up in the sky. So it's like 2.5 times as big, and they have to think about, in every single square inch, every room of the game, how close is the ceiling? Should we let them use Ascend? Should the ceiling be close enough here that they should be able to use Ascend? And if they do, where are they going to end up?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can ascend right out of the depths to the surface.
Oh, yes.
I've done it a few times. Like, I think there might be something on top of this, but nope, it just is connected all the way up and you're at the surface. The amount of employees and time this game took to make has got to be just nuts.
They just had to think of everything from every angle. If we allow them to fly, are they going to be able to beat the game too quickly? Or traverse this area, get on top of something they shouldn't have been able to get on top of?
Uh-huh.
I was able to do that in a temple by accidentally going to other temples first. I had an ability that allowed me to shift just a little further in the air than I normally would have been able to in another temple to beat that temple in the unintended way.
Yeah.
Super good game.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm glad you're playing it because and are liking it so far. I just think it's so good. The I'm also a little biased. I really like Attack on Titan, and the voice actor who does the voice of Levi Ackerman, who's one of my favorite characters from that show, does the voice of Ganondorf in this game. And I don't know if you've seen. It's kind of cool. You can find like the main story cutscenes in whatever order you want, finding the dragon tears or whatever. And only some of them have Ganondorf in them, but he has a bit more presence. More characters talk. Game's bigger. There's more dungeons, and obviously the depths and the sky islands, and it's crazy. I don't know, it's just nuts. Awesome game. Cool, Devin. Well, we could talk about that one for. I could talk about that one for a long time, but
Yes, it's unreal.
it's crazy. It makes you realize, like, man, graphics and like processing power are really not what makes a game excellent. It's new ideas, and I think that is another reason why. Just going back to our Lord of the Rings discussion, where I'm like, man, like, do a new idea. Like, do we have to like have a character say the exact same line from like those earlier movies? Like, let this be its own thing. It's already in Rohan. We know it's in the same place. You don't need to say the same words.
Yeah, I think the success of this game, and then we will move on, to me, is that if you can think it, you almost can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can try something random, and even if it barely doesn't work, it almost worked because the physics are so spot on.
Yeah.
They don't limit you anywhere.
No, you can do whatever you want. You might not have enough battery power to do what you want, but you can go get that and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy. Love it. Cool, Devin. Super pumped to watch you finish streaming that. Everyone check out Devin's stream of that. Weekdays. I think it'll probably take you a good another week. And depending on how thorough you decide you want to do side stuff. But I'm excited for you to see some of the areas and things you haven't seen yet because they're cool. All right, over to me. I've been playing a lot of stuff. Just really quick, closing the loop on Nico de Rico. After the podcast, I think last week, or it might have been the week before, and I just forgot to mention it, but we did finish this game.
We did, for some reason.
Yeah, we stayed up till like 3 a.m. finishing Nico de Rico, which is a very funny sentence. And man, I had high hopes for this game, and I think it starts pretty okay, and even has some points, like a few levels where I'm like, man, this is like getting a little better. But then I think it gets a little repetitive and ends a little bit lower than that, which was a bummer. I'd give it probably like a 6. Great music, some probably 6 or 7, like awesome levels. I was like, that was a great level. But those weaknesses that we've already talked about not having a sprint button, not having different speeds of movement. And so it's really hard to be like accurate with what you're doing.
Yeah, if you can't be accurate with your character, you're not going to enjoy the gameplay, no matter how beautiful it is, no matter how good the music is, and no matter how creative the levels are. You've got to be able to fine-tune movement in a game instead of over and under correcting because of input lag or just the system.
Yep. I really hope that they're allowed to make a sequel. I don't know how it sold or anything. I can't imagine very well because I don't hear anyone talking about Nico de Rico ever.
Oh, but, I didn't know this was.
Yeah. Again, it just looks so cool. And they were like almost there. If you add just those few different things and like make your collectibles like unlock a bonus world at the end, like that would have been really cool. Just those changes, I think you'd be at like, I'd give it an 8 or a 9 then. But you've got to be able to control the character better. Collectibles need to matter. And just some more unique and fun levels. I liked a lot of them, like the cart levels and this one where you're running away from the dragon. Very cool, but a little bit of a miss, unfortunately. But it's done. Finished it up. I don't think I'll go back to do anything else in this one, especially since the platinum's just absolutely brutal. You can't die a single time in the whole game. You can change it to easy, but even then, because you can't control the character very well, it would still be way hard.
Oh, man. You can control your character in the original Mario better than you can in this game. On the NES.
Yeah.
It's easier to jump onto a small pixeled platform on the NES than it is in this game.
And that's the problem, is like that platforming like perfection is just barely missing. And I think it's just because of the movement speed. There's no build up to full speed. It's just full speed, full speed, full speed, and you overcorrect a lot.
It needs some acceleration or something.
But anyways, finished that one, and I've been playing a few new things. First one is a little arcade game that I've had my eyes on for a little bit, but it was on sale last week, so I finally took the plunge. This one's called Kill Knight, kind of a dark sounding name, but it's an arcade game, a twin stick shooter. Very much gives me Nex Machina and Resogun, Super Stardust, Housemarque game vibes. I wish that I like the kind of gothic isn't the right word, but kind of the dark vibe it has. You're like fighting these kind of Helldivers looking monsters as like a knight that also has guns and a sword, and I think visually it looks cool. I wish that the levels were a little more like diverse. It's usually you're on some shaped platform, which will change throughout the layer or level. And then enemies just kind of run around at you. I wish it was visually a little bit different. But man, I really like how it plays. There's surprisingly a lot of depth. I think there are, like, I didn't count them, but I think there's about 8 or 9 different primary weapons. I've only unlocked 3 of them. Then you also have like what would you call it? A heavy weapon? There's probably that many of those as well, and I've only unlocked a couple of those, and each of those heavy weapons have like an overdrive wrath ultimate, they call it. And then you have different melee weapons, and you have different passive abilities that you're unlocking and kind of mixing and matching, trying to find the build that you like. And then, with all of that variability, while you're playing, it has so much that you can do at like any given moment. You're usually shooting with the right trigger. When your clip runs out, it has active reload, so kind of like Gears of War, I think, was the first game that really did that. A little bar comes up, and if you push a button in the correct area, you like reload ultra fast and get some perk on your gun. It might shoot more bullets or deal more damage. You can also push different buttons during that recharge to do like a extra strong attack with your sword, or you can press this R1 that stops you from shooting but absorbs all of these like multiplier gems to you. And if you press that one during the overdrive recharge reload, then it attracts all of them to you from the screen. And once that's full is when you get to use your ultimate attack. And only by using your ultimate attack is the only way that these green gems that just barely popped up on the screen that give you health back can come back. So you're balancing all of those basically with every reload. What's best for me to do right now? Keep shooting with the ultra powered gun now that I've correctly timed my reload, or get all the orbs, do a fancy slash. It's just really fun. Arcade action. You can levels are like 5 to 8 minutes long, unless you die, and you will die often. Very, very cool. I think I got it for $7-ish. Totally worth that. I think it's really great. So if you like arcade style games, twin stick shooters, think Geometry Wars, that kind of stuff. This one's really cool. Really like it. So that's Kill Knight. I also started another game I got a few months ago, but just haven't gotten around to. This is kind of the problem that David has. When there's a sale, I'm like, ooh, I wanted that game. I'll get it. Then it goes on the backlog. Then it might sit there for quite a while. Much like I did with Hi-Fi Rush. This is an Xbox game originally, but came over to PlayStation last year sometime. And this is a really cool one. It's basically, man, if you took like something like Ratchet and Clank, took away the guns, you're like doing melee attacks and stuff, and mix it with Guitar Hero.
Interesting.
So it's all music based and timing based. So even when you're like holding the joystick, your character's movement, all of his steps are with the beat of the song going on. And if you do your attacks right on the beat, they're stronger, and that's how you do combos and stuff in this game. I don't feel like I'm very good at it yet because it does feel weird to go from like God of War or something with a somewhat similar like camera view and like hacking like gameplay style to something where I need to be focused on, okay, it's like square, square, triangle, dash, square, square, triangle, ultra hit, and you're trying to do it all with the beat. It's very helpful. Basically everything on the screen like gives you visual cues. Like the character even snaps when you're standing still in the beat. Your health bar at the top left like kind of pulses to the beat. There will be these grates on the ground and they'll shoot steam out on like the beat, and you have heavy attacks with triangle and stuff. Very cool. I hope that I can get a little bit better at it. I In these kinds of games I feel like the timing from your latency from your controller to your TV, and even more importantly, I think from your TV to your audio device, like I use a little sound bar, is super important. And I feel like most of these games have like a setting where you can adjust the lag on those things so that it'll have like a thing go by and you push the prompt right when it's in this center line, and then it will auto adjust to say like, oh, okay, we can tell that his audio is 20 seconds delayed, and so it kind of lines those things up. This doesn't have a setting like that, so I felt like there were times I was playing better than the screen was showing me. But maybe I just need to improve. I'm not 100% sure. But cool game, cool idea. We'll see how much more I play of it. I might think it's cooler than I really want to play like a 20-hour game in that style. It might only be 8 hours. I have no idea how long it is, to be honest, but cool game. Excited to try it out some more. And then last up, I've just been playing a ton of Balatro. Wow, so much. Super obsessed. I kind of play it every night to wind down. Mostly on my PlayStation because I want the trophies, but like I mentioned earlier, it's on Apple Arcade. I have it on my what's it called? On my iPad. And it's just wonderful. It's so fun to like find different combinations of jokers and cards and decks. And man, I can just see myself like playing this for like the rest of my life almost. There's so much depth and it's really fun. I don't know what else to say about it. If you like card games at all, I think you like this one. You don't have to like poker, even because it's really just like a game about building combos with these like really cool and fancy jokers. Technically, you're playing poker hands, like a two pair or a full house and things like that. But other than that one connection to poker, there's really nothing else connected to poker about it. So that was a lot of stuff, Devin. I've been playing a lot of video games. And in fact, I'm going to count Balatro as my board game of the week because I haven't been able to play any other board games. But Balatro, I think, is close enough. We're just about there.
Yeah.
All right, Devin, anything you're excited about finishing up that section?
Split Fiction. I'm excited for that game if we end up getting it. And then
I would like to. I'm just not sure when I'll have time to play it.
Yeah, and I did watch a stream on 2 Point Museum. Looked very interesting. Maybe not for me, but I was entertained enough for a moment.
I sometimes like those kinds of management games, like Roller Coaster Tycoon that we were talking about earlier. I'm mostly just going to be pounding through the video games I just talked about. Balatro, No More Nico DeRico. What else did I say? Kill Knight, and probably trying at least a little bit more of Hi-Fi Rush. Very cool. As far as board games are concerned, I have one delivering on Monday that I'm pretty pumped about. It's from Kickstarter, so that means I backed it like 9 months ago, and it's just delivering this week. And it looks pretty cool. It is called Apothebakery, and it's not a very complex game, but I like the both the art style and the Devin. I think we briefly looked at this one before, but kind of the gameplay mechanism, at least of the first phase, it sounds really cool, and I think the rest of it hopefully will kind of match. You have your own little Apothebakery where you are making different potions and I think baked goods for these knights in order to heal their ailments and stuff. And so you're managing your potions here, and you have some other tokens on your board in order to meet those contracts. I think the coolest sounding part of the game is this top board. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in very much. But during the first phase of the game, everyone draws 3 of these cards. I think they're called like fories. It's like a foraging fairy. So you have 3 cards that tells you how much foraging strength you have. And the bottom of this track shows like how much strength you need in order to go that far from left to right to get to that card. So all the way at the end is like 5 foraging strength or 8 if you want to draw the top 2 cards from the deck. So everyone has these 3 cards they're keeping hidden, and they are the only one that knows how much foraging power they have. And you know what cards you want, because the cards will dictate what resources you have in order to make the potions. And so you decide, of your 3 cards, how many am I going to send out foraging? You have to send at least 1, but you can send 2 or 3. And then your total foraging strength will determine how far you can go, but also turn order. Whoever sent out the fewest strength goes first, because their fories don't have to take as long kind of to get there because they're not going as far. And that's a cool balance. I feel like you want to get farther, usually probably to get what you want, but I don't want to go too late in turn order because someone then might just take it out from under me anyways. Then you use those for cool stuff. Has cool like acrylic pieces and stuff. We'll look at it next week when Devin's here as well. So that's Apothebakery. Excited to try that one out. Apothebakery. Hopefully it's good. It looks cool. I think it's like the first game from this publisher, Lux Lupo, if I'm not mistaken. So it always makes me a little nervous, but I read a bit about it, watched some videos, and I think it looks fun. 60 to 90 minutes. That's like a fun time frame for me for like a somewhat lighter game. So excited about that. All right, Devin. In video game news, I've decided I'm going to start breaking these things into 2 sections in the news Mini-Nuke. We might have an item or 2 each week that's like a bigger item that we might talk about a little bit longer. And then we're going to have the rapid fire nuke. And those are going to be like things we're just going to go through pretty quick that don't really need a lot more talk. Okay, Devin, for the first news item this week, there was a big report from Jez Corden at Windows Central. He's one of the media people that is most connected to Xbox, so he would know these things. But he published this big report about Xbox's hardware plans. There's been a lot of questions, like, are they even going to keep making hardware since they're putting all of their stuff on PC day and date, and now PlayStation, sometimes day and date, sometimes a little bit later. But he's got some answers that might change, but these are at least today's answers about that. I think there's 4 main things. First one, they're going to be working with a, what did he call them? A PC gaming OEM manufacturer. So Asus, Lenovo, Razer, somebody like that, to make an Xbox branded gaming handheld. So like the Rogue Ally that we're recording on right now, but might be green or something. They have some reasons for that. They want to collect data and have something out quickly before they're able to make their own handheld device. We'll be back to that in a minute. Number 2, they are working on what they're calling a premium successor to the Series X that is targeting, I guess going back real quick, that handheld is targeting this year, which is kind of crazy.
They're trying to get that out this year?
The one with the partner of either Asus or Lenovo or whatever, which seems kind of crazy, but I don't know. They want something out quick, it sounds like. The other 3 things are all 2027 is the tentative target year. So the first one is a premium successor to the Series X. Supposedly, it's going to be a lot more Windows adjacent and focused, so that developers making their games for Windows PCs, it'll be easier for them to put them on Xbox as well. There's also some talk here in the article, great article if you want to go read it, on Windows Central, about how Phil Spencer and some of their leadership has said that they'd be interested in even having other launchers on their devices. So will you be able to launch Steam on your next Xbox? That's a possibility. Which would also be very crazy,
Mm-hmm.
very cool. The third one is they're making their own handheld, which will probably like much like they have the X and the S, the cheaper, not as powerful version, be like the S to the more premium successor, also out in 2027. The fourth thing, probably not quite as wow or exciting, are new controllers. And those controllers are supposed to connect directly to Xbox's gaming cloud, which for some like game streaming services has been really helpful. I think like Google Stadia's controllers connected directly to their cloud, um, which helps with the delay between your input and the screen you're seeing if my controller's connected directly to Xbox's servers versus if my controller's sending data to the TV and the TV is slow and then sending data to.
What a cool idea.
Because they're kind of all in on their streaming and gaming cloud as well. So those are the four like big highlights. Device this year, maybe a green Rogue Ally, Xbox branded or something. In 2027, which is only 2 years from now, a new Xbox, premium replacement for the Series X, might have Steam or some other launcher capably or potentially on it. Handheld that they're making themselves, also that same year. And then new controllers, probably primarily for streaming. The main thing that makes me think of is it seems like they're obviously targeting 2027 as kind of their restart, next generation of devices coming out. There's been lots of rumors that PlayStation's next console, seemingly the PlayStation 6, would come out in 2028. So I wonder if this timeline that seems a little bit faster than I thought it might help them out being a little bit early, or if maybe Sony might push theirs up a little bit now too. I don't think that they will, especially having just barely released the PlayStation 5 Pro at $700. I think that they now they have something that's a bit stronger, and I think they'll ride that out an extra year to 2028 probably. But I don't know, Devin, what are your first thoughts on hearing about those four devices? Anything
I thought they might be stepping away from consoles.
Yeah, I think that's what most people thought. Yeah.
And so it's interesting because it seems like, I don't know, I think technology will get so advanced that somehow everything maybe one day will be connected through the cloud. And I like that quick connection to the cloud because I hate input lag in any form. If I'm on a vacation and I don't have my nice cords and connections, just simplify a way where everything is always fast. And I think we're on our way there.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Have you ever tried game streaming?
Yeah, and it was...
Yeah, I've played it a few times too, mostly because I want to play PlayStation 3 games. And you can't play them natively on a PlayStation 5, which is really dumb. And yeah, it's not good. I don't like it. So anything they can do to make that better, it's cool to me. I'm glad that they're going to continue making stuff. I think it helps for them to at least be somewhat competitive there. I don't know if these devices are going to sell a ton, because I do think that most people are just going to buy PlayStations knowing that they can get their games on Xbox games on PlayStation anyway. But I imagine for people that are really PC focused, that focus a lot on Steam, hey, if I can get this new Xbox, and have a Steam box in my living room too, that's really cool. So I don't know. They're smart over there. Humongous company with big plans. But that's kind of their approach for the next couple of years, it sounds like. And we'll see if this timeline holds true of being 2027 or not. So, kind of exciting. That was kind of the biggest news of the week that I think everyone was talking about. All right, Devin. For this part of the news, Mini-Nuke, we're going to rapid fire. So we've got a lot of littler things that we won't talk about for too long because I don't think they really need that much talk. If there's something you want to talk about, please. We can rapid fire with a little pause in there sometimes if
Oh
we
my
want.
gosh.
If we want to.
Can you imagine?
I know. There's quite a few things here. So Devin, send me the first one if you don't mind, and then feel free to just send me them in whatever order or however you please.
Rapid fire in 3, 2, and 1.
Cool. Another big one this week. Death Stranding 2, on the beach. Got a release date, a new 10-minute trailer at South by Southwest just this last week. Comes out on June 26th. Have you played Death Stranding?
No, I've seen it.
It is a very interesting game. Let me see if I just put in a fake birth date here. Didn't realize they were going to make me do that. This trailer is like, it's very cool, but man, it's such a weird vibe. I feel like I would love it because I like sci-fi and like weird stuff like that. But I haven't played the first game, and I would need to do that first. The main struggle I have is I actually started the first game and played it for about 2 hours, and I thought it was really cool. But it's very slow. The story is you play as Norman Reedus, and you're kind of reconnecting like these parts of America after some post-apocalyptic event, and you're a parcel delivery man. So you have these packages and stuff, and you can organize them however you want, and you're like walking long distances. And sometimes I think you do have a weapon, but not often. And there's a whole system in this game about how you're balanced. And if you like start tipping one way, you can push the opposite trigger to like catch yourself and unbalance. And so like gameplay wise, it seemed very long and like I didn't have the time to finish it. But then like the story segments and the characters and the villains are like so cool. And so I don't know. I don't want to say too much maybe about this topic, but watch this 10-minute trailer if you haven't. It's very beautiful. And there's like cool vehicles and like crazy sci-fi goo, and like the characters are so crazy. Norman Reedus is always like carrying around this baby in a little pouch. And Troy Baker plays like this character named Higgs that's like super weird looking. I love the vibe.
Yeah, as do I. Super cool.
I want to show you what Higgs looks like. Here we go. We got a few of the characters here, I think. We can even zoom in a little bit, probably. We got Norman Reedus as Sam, Fragile, Tarman. There's Higgs.
Whoa. Oh, I recognize 2 of the girls in this.
Yeah, his big stars is like the...
I think that was one of the Fanning girls, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. And like super cool like characters, and she has 2 right hands.
I don't want that.
When I saw that, I was like, what is that? It freaked me out a little bit. So I don't know, the vibe looks awesome. I just don't know if I'll be able to play it. The first one is so long from what I've heard, and I don't know if I can do that, but that was a big deal. June 26th. So Devin, I said rapid fire, and then I talked for a long time. These next ones will rapid fire.
No worries.
All right. AMD has a new super sampling thing that I can't remember what it's called FSR4. I don't remember what that stands for, but it's some upscaler. Supposedly, it's a pretty big step up from super sampling today, and PlayStation is going to incorporate it into the PlayStation 5 Pro starting in 2026. So it sounds like they're updating the PlayStation Super Spectral Resolution tool that they have there, which is cool.
And they're saying it combats DLSS, which is NVIDIA's.
Yeah, exactly.
And oh yeah, it says that right there.
No, it's okay.
I wanted to be smart for a second. It said it.
Hey, you were right.
I didn't cheat, I swear.
Yeah, you're right. That was a little wall of text. Nobody thought you were reading it. So, so that'll be cool if you have one of those $700 boxes that I do not. Next up, very popular game a few years ago was Disco Elysium. It's like an RPG where you can, I think, like make kind of whatever choices you want. You can play it like super friendly or super not. It was very, very popular that year it came out. That team has announced their next game. It's called Project C4. Seems like it's similar idea, but it's more espionage focused, but an RPG with similar idea where failure is part of gameplay, honors player choice, that kind of thing. So if you want to see that teaser, you can. Cool art style, but they didn't like show gameplay, I don't think, or anything like that. So there was that one. All right. Next up, just in time for the second season of HBO's The Last of Us, there's a new Last of Us DualSense controller. And I actually really like
that's
the way that one
pretty,
looks.
yeah.
Some people haven't liked it, and I know the white sticks are like kind of controversial because they could get dirty like super fast.
I feel like they would for sure,
but I
oh
think
well.
I think you could maybe keep it clean if you were very like religious about keeping your hands clean. I don't know. I do like all the little touches on it though, like the let me see if I can find a picture. I like the white triggers too. She hot.
Oh yeah, she hot.
Like the wolf and the moth, the Firefly logo, and other little the Naughty Dog logo is on there as well. I think it's really cool looking. It's the same price as kind of their other special ones. I think $84.99. Expensive
That
controllers.
Is nuts. Holy.
Yeah. I think a regular DualSense is $69.99. So $15 markup for the cool like license. I don't know, game special edition ones.
Some people will definitely buy it. It's one of the most loved games.
Yeah, I think that you can pre-order it. I think it's a limited edition one. Pre-orders start on the 14th, which is in just a couple days, I think. What's today? Today the 12th? Today's the 12th. That's Friday at 10 a.m. So if you're hearing this on Friday, thank you, patrons, and you want this, well, there you go. Notified just in time. Split Fiction, Devin, you just said you're very pumped about it. Sold 1 million copies in the first 48 hours. They're a much smaller team than like Monster Hunter Wilds that sold 8 million copies in 3 days. I imagine this is a very big win for them. So it's been getting a lot of buzz. Excellent reviews. It looks really cool. I haven't watched almost anything about it, but the little I have seen looks very cool.
Would you play sci-fi or fantasy?
Oh, is that what you do? You choose one of those characters?
I think the two characters have different passions, and one of them...
I would choose sci-fi.
Okay. That's so close for me.
Yeah, it is hard. I like both. All right. Next up, there's a rumor or a leak, I'm not exactly sure, that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be releasing on PlayStation 5 on April 17th with early access a couple days earlier. I've been excited about that game. It was supposed to be pretty good. Have you seen any gameplay of that? It's first person.
Slightly, yes.
And like you have your whip and you can like sneak around and throw shovels and kind of be a little creative with your Indiana Jones combat, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
So Pal World is getting a crossplay update in late March. Devin's favorite game, Pal World.
Love Pal World, honestly. 40,000 hours in that game.
Nice. I don't know I have anything else to say about that.
Not next. Rapid fire.
But there you go. There was a VR game showcase. They showed 22 games. And some of them look really cool. I really like my PSVR 2. I struggle with games with free movement because it makes me a little nauseous. I'm hoping to get over that someday, but we'll see. Some of these games do look cool, like Gorn is getting a sequel, Gorn 2, and they had a segment about Hitman PSVR 2 mode, which looks very cool. You can like, to do your assassinating, you're like actually grabbing like syringes and guns, and kind of the flexibility of that game in VR is really cool. Like he's sniping right here, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't know. Some of these games looked pretty cool. I don't know if too many of them are for me. One of the last like 6 were from the same company called Flat to VR, and they say their mission is to like take the best flat games and bring them to VR. And some of those look pretty cool. They're bringing like one called Shadowgate and RoboQuest, and there were a couple of theirs that I did think looked pretty cool. This one, Devin, I think you would like. It's called Out of Sight, and I think it's this one. It's like a horror game, and You're like this little girl with her teddy bear, and you're walking around a house. Yeah, and there's like this creepy lady like trying to get you.
I would like that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it
I
kind
don't
of
know
looked
why.
like Little Nightmares to me.
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe it gives me, and I think you kind of play as the teddy bear, and you like tell the girl what to do to solve puzzles, and then you're like moving around the house trying to avoid the. So I
It's
don't
like
know.
BioShock 2. You play as the big daddy,
Oh yeah, that's true. Yep.
and you save the girls.
So, anyways, if you want to read more about those, there's a blog post on the PlayStation blog. I'll open that up just briefly, where you can read a little bit more about those 6 from that company, or you can watch the whole thing if you want to know more about all of the VR games that were announced there. All right. There was a 20-minute gameplay video released for Assassin's Creed. What's it called? Shadows? Yeah, Shadows. The new one that has 2 characters. One's like a samurai, and one is a sneakier person. Yeah. So, what's that called? One's a samurai, and one is a. There's another word for the other one, and it's gonna drive me nuts. Just like the guy in the trash can on Sesame Street that we can't remember. It doesn't matter, but they show gameplay, I think, from both characters' perspectives, because I think in some missions you can swap back and forth, and some you have to play as one or the other, and they play very differently. Looks cool. Looks like Ghost of Tsushima, just a bit different. But anyways, that comes out on March 20th. If you want to watch that, those games have generally been too big for me. There's a stream tomorrow called the Silent Hill Transmission Stream.
Oh,
it will uncover Silent Hill F.
That's what they're going to name the next game?
I think that's the code name.
Let's take a guess what it's going to be. Do you think it's going to start with F?
That's a good question. Sure.
Silent
Hill Forever.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I will do Silent Hill. First Contact.
Nice. They're going to meet the Borg. Love it. So if you want to watch that, it's already been the past, but I don't know what that's the fastest I could tell you. Next up, Nintendo announced another partnership with Lego. This one is Mario Kart, and they have this cute little video of a car driving around on the ground, which it doesn't really do, but then they show this Mario Kart figure. They said it's like more for adults. I think it's $150, and it's quite a few pieces.
Goodness.
But it's pretty cool looking.
Oh, it really does look good.
Yeah, I like it.
Buy me that.
I know, right? If I remember correctly, I think they have more sets than just that one. But it has 1,972 pieces. So, continuing rapid fire into like TV show stuff. There's a new trailer for the 2nd season of HBO's The Last of Us. Again, just looks excellent. I don't think we need to show too much of that, but it comes out on April 13th. Looks great. I'm excited to see what they cover of the 2nd game in this 1st season, going over part 2. There's a lot of confusing words there. Okay, there's a new Resident Evil movie. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago.
I already forgot it.
Sony is making, directed by the guy that directed Barbarian, and screenplay written by the guy that did John Wick 3 and 4 and Ballerina. And it's supposed to be back to Capcom's horror roots. Comes out September 18th, 2026, so you gotta wait a year and a half.
So there's gonna be no saving in that movie.
Yeah, you have to have an ink ribbon. You have to take one to the movie theater, or else at the intermission halfway through, they kick you out.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. Okay.
That is all for rapid fire.
Yeah, I think we did that pretty quick. Rapid fire is kind of nuts. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that on YouTube, but we did. All right. And as far as board games, kind of continuing rapid fire, there's one thing I thought was pretty cool this week. Board Game Wire has this article where I think they got like an interview or some data from Stonemaier Games, who is a very popular board game publisher. The most famous game is Wingspan. And I was kind of surprised. They're very transparent about everything, all of their sales, what games performed well, and like how Wormspan, the sequel to Wingspan, was kind of a risk for them, and exactly what happened when they printed the copies. The owner of their company is this guy, Jamie Stegmaier. I think he maybe has a partner as well, but he seems cool. He has his own YouTube channel, and he seems pretty down to earth, like a cool guy. They made like $25 million in sales last year. Or sorry, no, that was in 2021. What did they say? It was their revenue was up after a 2-year fall. Yeah, post pandemic stuff like that. Anyways, the thing I thought was really interesting, they give units sales for every one of their games. It's kind of crazy. So you can see like Euphoria and Pendulum, I actually own Pendulum, are some of their games that didn't sell the most. I have Libertalia as well. And Red Rising, I was surprised it sold 154,000 units. Tapestry, 87. Scythe is 560,000-ish. And then you've got the big guns. Wingspan is sold with its expansion kind of almost 2.5 million, it looks like. And Wormspan sold 303,000 last year. So it was kind of cool to see that transparency in sales data, because I feel like a lot of that is obscured pretty often. All right, Devin, that is going to bring us to Board Game Crowdfunding Corner for the week of March 14th, 2025. We look at board games that are ending, their campaigns, are ending in the next week to 2 weeks on Kickstarter, GameFound, and other platforms like those. And I think this week there were, I can't remember if there were 4 or 5, some number.
6.
There's 6?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, look at us go. 6 games that we're going to look at pretty quickly. A couple of them are remakes of, or reprintings of earlier games. We were just talking about video games I remake on the mind. The first one is called Manhattan Project Energy Empire. This one came out quite a few years ago, and it's supposed to be excellent. It's from one of my favorite designers. His name is Luke Laurie, and in that game, he had a partner designer, Tom Jolly, and I have a game designed by both of them, Whistle Mountain, and Luke Laurie designed Andromeda's Edge, which is the humongous box behind Devin's head, which I really like. Devin hasn't played it yet, but it's a big, fun game. So I really like this designer. I've wanted to play this one for a while. This version has, looks like, all the gameplay of the original, as well as the Cold War expansion, and a new expansion included as well. And it's a very different and kind of new art style that they've thrown on it too. I kind of like the muted colors. It's a worker placement game. That's what those designers do well, is worker placement. You can also just buy the Cold War expansion for the previous version if you wanted. So they have a few different things there if you want to catch up on anything related to Manhattan Project Energy Empire. Since that one's kind of a remake, we won't spend a lot of time there, but that's Manhattan Project Energy Empire. It's on Kickstarter until March 25th. All right, next up is a pretty light family game called Manatee Sanctuary. And in this game, you're trying to make a sanctuary for manatees, believe it or not.
Oh,
yeah.
Just what they need.
Mm-hmm. I like manatees. I think they're funny.
I never really thought about a manatee before.
I just think
maybe
they're funny
once or
looking.
Twice. They are funny. They remind me of a beluga whale.
Yeah. It's like you took a whale and then made it look derpy. This is like if you took a seal or a whale and made it look derpy.
Gave it a rubber mustache.
Yeah, I think they're funny. Pretty simple game. It uses drafting and I split you choose. So you have 5 cards in your hand. You put them in 2 groups, which will probably be a group of 2 and a group of 3. You hand those 2 groupings to a player next to you. They pick what one they want and give you the other one. So you're trying to group them in a way so that you'll get what you want. And then you use those cards in order to create a little sanctuary for the manatees, or to get resources, or have to draft manatee tokens, I think. So the cards have 2 different sections. The bottom section can be used for like your sanctuary board. The top section is used for the actions on top. Cool idea. I like drafting. I like I split you choose. And the cards being like multi-use, two-sided. It's kind of cool as well. Looks fun. I also think this is a cool idea. They have 2 editions of the same game. Nothing is different about them other than the player colors and the cover on the box. And I guess if you get both, you can play the game with up to 12 people, which sounds like madness. But in a drafting and I split you choose game like that, you're mostly playing with the 2 people you're sitting next to. So it doesn't matter if there's 12 other people, So you can buy either version you want, the Mermaid Edition or the Sea Cow Edition. And that is funny because it does kind of look like a sea cow or something from Star Wars. But yeah, I like a good Manatee. $29 game. I don't know. Looks kind of fun. Yeah, that's Manatee Sanctuary on Kickstarter through March 27th. Okay, next up is another reprinting. This is a huge, huge version of an earlier game called Champions of Midgard. I have never played Champions of Midgard, but it's very well loved. You can see it's got all these awards and stuff over here on the left from the Dice Tower and elsewhere. And it's made a lot of money, has a lot of backers. And this is a big version with updated artwork on the cards, I think on the map as well. And then it has big deluxeified components for like everything, trays for all of the dice. The dice are really cool and like marbled. And it has these boat miniatures that hold the dice and this big dice tower if you want to roll them with style.
Wow.
And these like cool looking pieces for your meat and wood resources. If you ever wanted to have a meat resource that wasn't a red cube, that one's got a bone in it.
Holy, that reminds me of Lion King.
That's funny. Yeah, I can see that. This is a worker placement game. I don't know a ton about the gameplay, to be honest, but I think if you are excited about this one and are willing to pay $249 for this Kickstarter, then you probably already know what you're wanting or have already played the game. But I do think the pieces look cool. Cool boats, cool dice. Like I like those. Like resource pieces. Are those metal? Does it say here? Deluxe foil, wood pieces.
Deluxe favor horns.
Yeah, it doesn't say if they're metal, but they look metal. Maybe it's just a metal paint on plastic. This is a neoprene playmat. Stitched edging fits inside the collector's game box, which has got to be a big boy. So, very cool pieces. Again, wow, these are even like awesome metal coins that are stackable. I want to know how big that box is. Let's see. The box will fit sideways into a calyx. That's a big box. So it won't fit standing up, but if sideways it will. That's crazy. Anyways, that's Champions of Midgard. Again, you know you want it if you want it. It's on Kickstarter until Friday the 28th. Next up is a game called Thief's Market, another game using the I split you choose. They're calling it I cut, you steal mechanism here. This is a game that you'd only want to play if you're okay with people stealing your stuff often, and you're okay being slightly mean to other players. You're trying to get the most points, and like I think if you are able to steal like 3 emeralds, you win, and you do that by getting these cards. You can only get those cards if you have the resources required. And so on a turn, someone will roll a bunch of dice, and you can either take as many items as you want from the middle, or steal someone else's entire pile. But then you have to remove one of the things you stole and put it back to the middle. So you want to take as much as you can without making yourself a target for theft. Seems to be the main play. Or on a future turn, you can use the gems and stuff you have in front of you in order to buy those cards, which will help you win the game. So stealing all around, trying to be sneaky, not let people steal your stuff by making sure there are always other things that are more appealing to be stolen from. Interesting idea. I'm not always a fan of games of that style, but with a $19 retail pledge, that's a pretty low entry point, which sounds kind of fun. Or you can get the fancier version with the metal coin, wooden tokens. That is Thief's Market on Kickstarter, also until the 28th. Okay, next up is probably the one I know the least about. It's a cooperative game called Companion Quest. And it looks pretty light. It's for ages 10 plus, plays in half an hour. And you're going to befriend these companions, roll dice, and modify the dice. And what else did it say here at the top? Overcome quests in this strategic co-op adventure. I think that for people that like cooperative games, they probably kind of know what this is going to be kind of like. You're helping each other to get the dice rolls that you want in order to complete those quests. Seems like a game that my kids would like and would be kind of fun to play with children where you can help them along. Again, I don't know that I would get it solely to play with adults. I'm usually looking for a bigger, more complex game for that kind of game night. But I did think the artwork and the short playtime and the pretty simple kind of gameplay mechanism seemed like my kids would like it. So
yeah,
pretty simple one there. That is Companion Quest on Kickstarter, also till the 28th. Is this the last one? Or is there two
it
more?
is.
Okay. And then last up, from Flat Out Games, they usually have 1 or 2 Kickstarter campaigns a year. And this time it's a doubleheader. They have the third game in the Point Salad kind of line called Point Galaxy, and a game called Propolis. And so just really quickly, Point Galaxy doesn't look very much different from like Point City, and I haven't played Point Salad, but the main thing that looks kind of different is instead of a grid of 9 cards, you have like a grid of 6 and then 3 decks up top. And I think you can also take from those decks, and you have to have one of those planet kind of cards in order to create a new column that you'll be putting these other cards underneath. So it's slightly different structure on a similar kind of gameplay style where I think on your turn, you take 2 cards. And then you can take cards if you can pay for them with the cards that you currently have. So you're kind of building an engine because every card you take usually adds to this kind of stack of materials that you can use to spend for future cards. And whoever does that the best and the fastest wins the game. Let's see, where's Propolis? I thought you'd be right here. How to play. Propolis is a worker placement game where most of the spots are also on cards. So you'll be sending your bee meeples out to cards in order to get different resources, and then you can fortify them or tip them down and regain those rewards. I think it also like protects certain cards, if I think that's what the video said. And then you'll return them as well, build buildings, and then I think you can build kind of these centralized cards. They're calling Queen's Palace cards. So again, it seems kind of like a engine building worker placement game, kind of with a similar kind of vibe to Point Galaxy, but instead of just taking cards from the central pile to build your engine, it's about putting those workers out to kind of do something like similar. I think these games look really cool. I really like the art style on Propolis, and kind of sticking to their previous campaigns, they have like really low price points. So it's $19 each for the 2 games, or you can get them bundled together for $35 with some of the like Kickstarter promos, and you get a discount on shipping. Basically, it's $9 for shipping if you get 1 game. If you get 2 games, it's still $9 for shipping. So a little bit of a discount both ways on the games and on the shipping. So if you like Point City or any of Flat Out's other games, I'm a pretty big fan of them. So this is an intriguing one to me. That's Point Galaxy and Propolis, also on Kickstarter till the 28th of March. Devin, I flew through those 6 pretty quickly, kind of telling you a little bit about them.
You sure did.
Like we do every week. After that brief explanation, which of those campaigns is your pick of the week?
I'm going to let you have Point Galaxy and Propolis. I feel like that is your pick.
No, yeah, it is. This is my pick.
Okay. My pick then is going to be Don't Look.
Okay. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, you better be surprised. Just click on it without reading it. Blur your vision.
Okay, I will. Here we go. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I am a little surprised you're picking a, like, halfway complex. Well, we didn't go into rules, but worker placement game. I do like the vibe. Cool art.
Yeah. I don't think it's my favorite game we've seen on Crowdfunding Corner, but I think it wins for me this week, besides the last one we just showed.
Yeah. I am intrigued by this one, mostly because Luke Laurie designed it, and I've heard good things about it for a long time. Just have not been able to play it. Too many games, too little. You usually say too little time there, but I was going to say too many games, too little money.
That's fact.
But either way. And then, yeah, my pick of the week's probably going to be Point Galaxy and Propolis from Flat Out. I think they do good campaigns at Flat Out, and they have a good track record. I like Point City, so I think I would like Point Galaxy. Propolis seems like a quick kind of riff on that system with workers instead. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by this one. It's my pick of the week for March 14th, 2025, and that's going to do it for Crowdfunding Corner for our 50th episode. So make sure to check back next week for episode 51, and we'll see you then. All right, Devin. I think that's going to do it for our show today. We ran a little long with some of our prep and stuff, so I think we're just going to kind of bow out at this point.
I don't even know if we talked about the fact that this was our 50th episode.
I don't know that we did either until this moment.
But it is. So for anybody that watched till the end, you've won a new car.
Wow, yeah. I don't know that we can give out 1 million new cars, though.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yeah. Maybe, but I don't know if that would go very well. Yeah, 50 episodes. It's been fun. We're almost at a year. It is it's crazy like how fast it goes, but at the same time like how much of a grind it kind of is, you know.
Yes.
You're just like,
especially for you. You do more work on this than I do, and it has been a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. We do longer podcasts than most, I would say, and try to throw a lot of content in there and talk about other things that make each week unique. And editings can be rough, I'm sure, and
it can be. It's not too bad on the podcast because I just don't do any cuts. We just keep talking, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not like going for perfection on a 2.5 hour podcast so much. Editing is pretty rough on like our gameplay video sometimes because David will take like an extra 30 seconds to take his turn. And so I have to.
Oh, I'm sure I do that too.
And then I have to look at like watch the whole video and be like, okay, it took too long here and too long here, and trim out all those segments. But for this, it's not too bad. But yeah, it is fun. 50 episodes. I hope that our next 50. I think we'll probably just continue to get into a groove. There might come a point where we like. I'll be excited to see what like shifts we make. Should we cut this section or change something up drastically? You know, you're always hoping that more people will start listening and noticing you, and I hope that I'm able to spend a little more time like editing short form stuff to promote the podcast more, because I think that would help. But it's hard. This takes a bit of time to prep to go out with thumbnails and YouTube video descriptions and export time and stuff. But I do think that would help. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been good. I don't know that as a non-podcast expert, I don't know that I have much else to say about 50 other than, hey, we're still here.
Yeah, it's half of 100. Hoorah.
Hoorah. But Devin, anything you want to say to the people before we say goodbye?
Get your sleep, because if you don't, you'll feel weird.
Yeah, this is true. And on that note, we'll see you next week for episode number 51 of the Super Game Brothers podcast. Make sure to check us out at patreon.com/supergamebrothers and supergamebrothers.com. And we'll see you next week. Adios.